Namaskara, the South Indian is here. We all know that when the budget is presented, we are actually counting and looking at our home budgets to figure out if we can manage by what prices have increased and how happy we are when prices are slashed. You know, the overall health of any state depends on the financial management. How does a government manage its money? That's extremely important. Today we're going to speak about one of the South Indian states, and let me tell you, this is not to sit on judgment, but just to kind of take a look at what really is going on in Karnataka, because Karnataka actually has become a role model for several states because of Congress's fabulous win and also the way it has run its politics as well as its money. But then the government of Karnataka, as you know, has begun preparations to present its budget for the financial year 24-25, and it seems, that's what experts are saying, that it's not going to be an easy ride by any standards. Now look at the recent financial health of Karnataka. First came election expenses, then the delivery of 5 guarantees, and we know the kind of hurdles that were faced by it while delivering both Annabhagya and also Grihalakshmi, Grihajyoti, and then the severe drought in almost 195 talukas of Karnataka, the overall dry spell made worse by the Kaveri crisis along with Tamil Nadu, and let's not forget the pending bills for contractors, which became a big election issue as well. All that many experts say that, you know, if you look at all these things, then it actually adds up to 20,000 crores.
We are only requesting them, please release the amount, because all the contractors is suffering because banks are OD, they have stopped, and machineries is impounding, and even a lot of even for admission for children for a school they are suffering, and private loans they have taken. People are harassing them also. That's why I am requesting the state government to release the bill as far earlier.
And then of course the slugfest between many MLAs who come knocking on the doors of DK Shivakumar. We've seen that in the past, and also Siddaramaiah has been as old as the formation of the new government. It's been going on and on. They needed money to develop their respective regions, to build roads, infrastructure, etc. But then they were told the coffers were running empty, leading to open revolts from many of them. Who can forget what DK's first called as a big drama? You remember when R.R. Nagar MLA Muniratna fell at the feet of DK's. That's actually, ladies and gentlemen, the level of desperation, say money. I'm not saying about, you know, that there is politics involved and drama involved, but then they all need money. In July, 11 MLAs had shot off a letter to DK's, and the Deputy CM had coolly turned around and said, no money for all this. We are committed towards fulfilling the 5 guarantees.
And created this kind of ruckus here. What is your reply to it?
What ruckus? I don't mind. It is all party leaders are doing a big event here. He wants to create a confusion for their own party. And it is not left to me. He has just given me a representation. I'll give him time. I'll discuss with him.
So, in the toss-up between 5 guarantees, allegation that the previous BJP government had squeezed the treasury dry and getting the state's finances into shape, is it a severe financial crunch for Karnataka government? Let's debate. First up is Madhusudan B.V. Rao, who is lead public finance and centralization, Center for Budget and Policy Studies, Bengaluru, who's joining us, and also in a bit Nizam Faujdar will be here. He's of course General Secretary and spokesperson for KPCC, Dr. Baswaraj Itnal, senior political analyst and journalist, and Bhanuchandar Nagarajan, who is also a political journalist. A very, very warm welcome to all of you. Mr. Rao, if I can ask you first that, no one wants to create a panic. I am saying it at the outset. You are all learned men and can perhaps, speak about how this problem, whichever you call it a problem, how can it be solved? The 5 guarantees, many experts say are, approximately, I am giving you an approx figure, is around 50,000 crores. Now, the thing is that of course, the government calls it empowerment, Mr. Rao. But this is 12 to 15% of the next budget, the coming budget, which may be around 3 to 3.5 lakh crores. Now, tell me something, that is that the elephant in the room? That the amount that the government is committed towards fulfilling the 5 guarantees, Mr. Rao. Can you hear me, Mr. Rao? Please unmute yourself, sir. I don't think he can hear me. I don't think he can. Maybe we'll go to him later. So, Dr. Itnal, let me come to you, Dr. Itnal. This has been going on and on. It's not, whether it is because the BJP squeezed it dry, whether it is whatever other problems it could be. But according to you, do you think that the Karnataka government seriously needs to do some cosmetic surgery to tweak its financial health, Dr. Itnal?
This is just Q3 of the financial year, and probably it is too early to debate budgetary issues. Having said that, but it is true that the guarantee schemes are going to cost the Siddaramaiah government nearly 1/4 of the budget allocation. And that probably even Siddaramaiah also knows, Congress party knows, and absolutely I don't have any doubt in my mind that Siddaramaiah also knows this, that it is not going to be easy to manage this kind of additional burden on the budget. He knows it. But the bigger question, like you said, the elephant in the room is how are you going to compensate for it? Now, if this 50,000 crore rupees, whatever is being spent for development, welfare schemes like this, Annabhagya or Grajyoti or Gralakshmi or Yuvanidhi, whatever schemes they have announced, if that investment in the people is going to come back as revenue in terms of their expenses, their expenditures for various their livelihood needs. If it is going to come back as revenue, then the budget can be balanced. If not, what is that the government can do? They've already, increased the power prices in the state. They've increased liquor prices. Wherever they could increase the prices, they have done already. Now, any more of that is going to be counterproductive for the government, because most of the price rise will hit the middle class.
Right.
Most of the welfare scheme goes to the lower middle class and below poverty line segment. Now the middle class and upper middle class is traditionally with BJP. They say that no, these are freebies, giving free money to people, they will make them lazy. This is the opinion the middle class and the upper middle class wants. And accordingly, that will make the BJP's case stronger. And we must remember, Sudha, one more thing. Before the state budget, central budget is going to come.
Yeah.
So what central budget does, depending on that, the Siddaramaiah will have to draw his budget, and both the budget, the central budget, state budget, both of them will be drawing a budget, keeping Lok Sabha polls in the mind. Whatever are the budgetary constraints, restraints, pains, whatever, Siddaramaiah nor Mr. Modi can afford to, to pull the purse string, so to say. They will have to be generous because there is election in the country.
Therefore, you said it's too early, but the point is that the entire budget debate has also come up because of Telangana, where the Congress has announced 6 guarantees, not just 5. 6 guarantees, and the whole point is that yes, there is politics and politicians on one side, and there are policy makers on the other hand, and they are saying that it's worrisome because you have to look at the coffers. Let's not forget that we've just emerged out of the pandemic, and it's impacted the economies of the world across, and also us. We are not such a affluent nation, as it were. Nizam Faujdar has also joined us, like I announced. Ladies and gentlemen, There is, Nizam, the thing is that yours is a newly minted government. Your government has, is now slowly and steadily, of course, fulfilling whatever promises were made. But do you think the perception is that because you're fulfilling the 5 guarantees, the promises as it were, that you made to the people of Karnataka, a lot of developmental work is being impacted, and that shows up in the way your MLAs have crowded both Deputy CM and CM to say, please give us money, we have to actually create roads, maybe dig wells or whatever else, developmental work has to be done. Do you face, and it's not a sitting on judgment on your party, but do you think, looking at the overall economic health, Nizam Faujdar, there is a toss-up between fulfilling 5 guarantees, which is an excellent scheme. I will not call it Revdi because I am a South Indian, it's not Revdi, and the welfare, policies that you have, and developmental work, because both are important. Gaadi ke do पहिए हैं ये.
Sudha, I think rightly said that the government is working in favor of the people, and if you take the overall expenditure of this five guarantees is about 35,000 crores, which is about 10 to 12% of nearly 13% of the overall budget.
Yes.
I don't think so. It's such a huge impact that the development work will stop, and we would not be able to make new roads or provide the healthcare facilities, or it could be Gram Panchayat level of development from an infrastructural point of view. I don't think so. This is a major concern. The problem today is that the BJP government, which left this, which came in, they have siphoned out about 3 lakh crores which they took as a loan. And we need to ask these people, how did these people spend those 3 lakh crores? And now asking the same question to the Congress party, why is this government bankrupt? They have to answer this question, why this government is bankrupt. I'm not saying the government is bankrupt. I'm just using their words, saying that the government is facing cash crunch. Yes, there may be certain small, little bit of shortages, but Mr. Siddaramaiah and the entire cabinet, DCM, everybody is working towards allocation of funds to the various sectors, various the categories of the expenditure. We also are looking at how to streamline the revenue for the state. I don't think so. We should really get caught up. Karnataka is a very positive, the state GDP is on a rise. We have constantly worked towards that. And I don't think so it should become a major issue in terms of the fund crunch, or it's not that, we are facing a lot of,
Right.
we don't have money to pay to the salaries or to the contractors. Yes, we are doing certain investigations to the job allocated to a certain amount, certain areas, which has not been
Right.
executed, but the payments have been done.
Yeah.
We want to understand why these payments were made by the BJP without delivering the work, and
Right.
how did these people siphoned out, swallowed, and basically cost a huge amount of exchequer,
Right.
deficit to the system.
All right. Bhanuchandar, I want to ask you, and this debate is, of course, I will repeat myself, in the context of the 6 guarantees that has been promised in Telangana. The financial health is only relative. I mean, if you look at the south and the north, of course, we will trump them any day. Overall development and also the financial health. Look at Tamil Nadu, even Karnataka. But the point is that there is a big, veil in the room, as it were, that is the pandemic, which has had a cascading impact. Now, Nizam Faujdar says, yes, there is fulfilling the 5 guarantees is extremely important for our party. But, I want to ask you that, I'll again ask you that it is a toss-up between development of the traditional type that we all know development as, and not as fulfilling guarantees, Annabhagya, Grah Lakshmi, Grah Jyoti, or not all that. The thing is that it's not the opposition alone. Their own MLAs are struggling with it. I mean, in different talukas, and look at it. I mean, there is drought which is being faced in the state. Severe drought, severe water shortage is there. And on top of that, if you look at it, the 5 guarantees have to be fulfilled. Don't you think that development will take a backseat in some way or the other? Bhanuchandar.
First of all, Siddha, I want to repeat what you just said in the beginning, that there is no point of panicking now, because Karnataka is one of the wealthiest states, and It is 1.5 times the national average,
Yes.
the state GDP is. Okay, so, but I really appreciate you for the fact that you are bringing this topic right now, because there's a saying that if you don't learn from the lessons of history, you will be condemned to repeat it. And we have...
Bhanuchandar, sorry to interject, I'm a woman. So I manage the budgets at home, and so for next Diwali, I've already put a budget. Anyone who spends 1 rupee more can actually see the door. That's it.
Absolutely. Then perhaps you will be the right person to actually differentiate expenditure and revenue expenditure, because like we also want to build our nice homes, but and also keep a control on how we spend our on luxuries and daily expenses. So yeah, like I'm all ears to listen to your point of view. Jokes apart, Sudha, the thing is, we have seen things happen where these kind of promises, you don't want to call it freebies, but these are freebies. And let's talk it out. Let's talk it out openly. For example, take Delhi, for example, right? Like Delhi had this free electricity and free transportation, etc., right? When they and a few things that they expressed in their manifestos, for example, building 20 more colleges, training 1 lakh more women, etc., they have been put in the back burner because they don't have the funds for it. So the lesson from that is, if there's an opportunity cost of freebies, right? Like it's preventing you from building capital assets, which will give revenue later. And this is not just a problem with Karnataka. Even my home state, Tamil Nadu, it's going through a crisis. For example, right now, the 5,000 rupee scheme, right? They are not even able to implement it properly because there is no funds.
Sure.
So even the implementation of what they have promised runs into problems because there is no cash, and and I think you took it upon at a pertinent moment. There is also a debate on 2 types of developments, right? Like one is the input based, and second is the output based. What we are talking about is the output based development. Second is input based in terms of creation of infrastructure, like skill building, investment promotion, so on and so forth, right? So those are positive. Those are definitely positive and also accretive to the accretive immediate public goods.
Right.
So I think like we should keep that in mind, and there is a lot more to be done and lot more to be discussed, especially among the economists, to come out with some sort of a Dole index, if you want to call it that way, to see how various are performing. Back to you.
Can Mr. Rao, can you hear me now this time around? All right, I think we are having a bit of a problem with Madhusudan NBV Rao. Madhusudan B.V. Rao, I'm sorry, Lead Public Finance and Decentralization Center for Budget and Policy Studies, Bengaluru, because he's spoken a lot about taking remedial measures right in advance rather than later sitting and losing your sleep over it. And I was reading him last night and I thought, this is a good topic, because in the context also of Telangana, which goes to elections on 30th of November. Nizam Faujdar, one question which I was asked to ask you, because you're from the party, is that you have to fulfill guarantees, of course, and you had to struggle with Annabhagya, and that, of course, then you later corrected it. Every scheme, and it was about procurement, of course, more than money here. But the point is that you still, managed to buy 33 high-end cars. How come that happened?
No, I don't think so. We should really what high-end cars, low-end cars. I think we are getting into this, the nitty-gritties or, minuscule issues of the entire expenditure. They are extremely important people. They need security in terms of travel. They cannot use the rugged out cars and risk a minister's life or the official's life to travel with them. So it's getting into who bought this car, who bought that car. But the overall, we have to ask. You're asking me 39 cars or 30 cars? Can you ask the same question to the BJP? What happened to 3 lakh crores that they borrowed? What happened to the 3 lakh crores, which is double the debt of the last 70 years? So I need to understand why is BJP they are writing off about 22 lakh crores of the capitalist And I'm just saying it's okay that we write off those funds because they took a loan and they could not pay back. I think we should ask these more fundamental questions that why this economy has taken a beating across the country, just not Karnataka. Why is it taking the beating? Why is BJP a spendthrift and giving allotments to the various crony questions, and before asking whether we will be able to fulfill the 5 guarantees, 6 guarantees to the people, we will fulfill what may come. We will fulfill these guarantees and make sure the wellness, the welfare of the people is taken care of. We will not let go the healthcare system that we really need to enhance now. Mr. Dinesh Gundurao is working very hard on it. Second, Mr. MB Patil is working on the industrialization, how we can develop the various industrial, the zones that we have created across the districts. How we are going to basically enhance that? How can we bring industries to those areas? He's working extremely hard.
Right.
You ask you ask any minister across. We are functioning in a terms to basically enhance the revenue of the state. If that happens, it means the economy is doing extremely well in the Karnataka. If the Karnataka economy is doing well, the people of the last man standing in Karnataka will also benefit. He will have his own empowerment from various sides.
Okay.
So we need to ask one more question, Sudha, that if the inflation is happening, why is it happening? If the coal is sold at 2 times the cost, and that inflation in the production of the electricity and the electricity consumed by the various industries,
Right,
their inflation is rising. Why is that happening? Can the BJP answer that question?
Right.
Why are they standing?
You are in power
with the
now.
people who
Now
are
come
causing
on.
Inflation. कर्नाटक में हम देखेंगे ना, we will make sure this doesn't happen.
वही तो इसीलिए तो हम बात कर रहे हैं. बीजेपी को छोड़िए ना, आपकी सरकार है.
क्यों नहीं छोड़ा?
माशाल्लाह कर्नाटक में और क्या चाहिए आपको, है ना?
नहीं, 3 लाख करोड़ की चोरी की है, उनको पकड़ना जरूरी है ना मैडम.
पकड़िए, डालिए जेल में. आपकी सरकार है, आप हैं सरकार, सब कुछ आप हैं, आप करिए जो करते बनता है, क्योंकि लेकिन आपको अब आगे देखने की जरूरत है ना. आप पीछे मुड़कर कब तक देखिएगा? तो वही है मेरा सवाल भी. डॉक्टर इतनाल, लेट मी कम टू यू. You know, the thing is that yes, the Karnataka's health is very good, so far as financial, I mean the GDP, if you look at it, but still there is if you look at it, experts say that there is a revenue and fiscal deficit, I mean, which does exist. It does not mean that, it isn't there. But I have, so fine. So maybe that is part and parcel of the method to the madness, as it were. But I want to ask you something, that, this whole pending money to contractors, according to you, what is a bigger elephant in the room? Do you think Karnataka government is struggling because of what Nizam said, 30,000, some experts say the guarantees are going to cost 50,000 crores, Dr. Itnal, but do you think that is more, or this residual that we talk about, paying off the contractors, etc., which is coming to 20,000 crores, Dr. Itnal? What do you think is more worrisome and will impact the common man more?
It is a combination of all these factors that you have just enumerated, but more so because these guarantee schemes have become so important to the Congress party, because that is the only way they could reach the voter this time round. And why these guarantee schemes are important is that time and again you mentioned about pandemic and all. Simply because of pandemic, has left so many people jobless, homeless, and almost hopeless. This is important. That's why in this context the guarantee schemes are necessary and relevant. Whether Telangana is doing it or Congress is doing it elsewhere, they do it, that's different thing. And in fact, Telangana has gone one step ahead. They were announced 6 guarantee schemes.
Yes.
Okay, fine. That's politics. But its budgetary implications need to be understood. And I don't think Siddaramaiah or anybody in Telangana Congress party would be foolish enough to think that it is an easy way to do this.
So Dr.
There is no easy way to do this.
Yeah, Dr. Itnal, I have another question, sir, for you. In Tamil Nadu also it was seen, and many other states, that when there was a deficit felt, you take money, you divert money from one to the other for SC/ST funds.
I'm coming to that.
Yeah,
I'm coming to that.
please.
What is happening here is, what is happening, Sudha, is that Siddaramaiah government also, though he talks so much of socialist utopia and so many things, what is happening is, in a budget, let us talk in budgetary terminology.
All right.
You cannot be diverting the money required for capital expenditure towards revenue expenditure. All this revenue, all these guarantee schemes are revenue expenditure. And he is depriving the funds for capital expenditure like roads, infrastructure, development. These are all capital expenses. He's diverting money from there, and there are legacy issues like contractors bill. Contractors bill pending is not because of Siddaramaiah government.
Yes,
that's
not
a legacy.
Yeah.
That is legacy. Yeah. Or the job vacancies pending in the department is a legacy. It is not created by this government.
Yeah, but diverting funds will come back to bite
Yes.
you, particularly when you are
No.
seen to be a flag bearer of the Ahinda. Yeah, go on.
So I'll very importantly, then what are they left with? What options do they have? Time and again, all the governments in this country have been very kind to corporates and the big money bags, but they were very, very, strict on imposing taxes on middle class and the lower middle class. Now, the only way out is Siddaramaiah or Mr. Modi present a Robin Hood budget, because over the years the corporates and the big rich people have got so many tax rebates, but the common man has not got a single tax rebate. Now, are they going to impose more tax this time round on the corporates and the rich, hyper rich, uber rich, and then divert that money towards welfare? Otherwise, again, they will be forced to divert money from capital expenditure, from development to this one. This is a never-ending game.
Never-ending, yes. It is absolutely a never-ending cycle. Mr. Rao is joining us on the phone line. Mr. Rao, can you hear me?
Yeah, please.
Yes, Mr. Rao, we were waiting for you. Very happy that you could join. Mr. Rao, the thing is that, Karnataka government has started the legwork, as it were, to tweak its financial health. Do you think that there is cause for worry, because there are some very overt indications, for instance, the fulfillment of their 5 guarantees and also the 20,000 crore which is pending to the contractors. It's facing severe drought. Almost 195 talukas are facing drought. There is a severe water crisis owing also to the Kaveri wrangle with Tamil Nadu. Mr. Rao, for the viewers, for the benefit of the viewers, why don't you just speak about that? Is it a challenge that Siddaramaiah is facing right now? Although one knows his expertise, when it comes to budgets, sir.
Thanks. Thing is that the Siddaramaiah is quite smart on this one. And if you look into the growth of own tax revenues of the state, it is pretty good. 15% as of now, as at the end of August, they have been able to garner 15% more than what has been garnered the earlier year. Similarly, the tax collections, both GST and direct tax collections at Government of India level is also higher. So, which would also finally increase the tax share to the state, say from 37,000, which is estimated, it is likely to go up to another 5,000, up to 42,000 crores. If you look into the borrowings, though they have estimated about 85,000 crore borrowing, till August end, they have borrowed only 871 crores. So, Siddaramaiah is keeping his purse so tight so that he wants to estimate the likely outgo for the guarantees, say by Jan end or so, by which would have a fairly correct, accurate estimate of what, they have allocated about 39,000 crores as of now, though the annual thing is about 52,000 crores.
So would you say, Mr. Rao,
that growth in the own tax revenues, as well as
Mr. Rao,
higher tax share from Government of India and the scope for borrowing, they will able to tide over that.
Yeah, very good that they will tide over it. So you think that they are being very prudent, they are being very smart. But my next question, which is also something I've been asking all the experts on the panel, is the toss-up between managing, being very prudent, because if you are prudent, there is a bit of a sacrifice that you have to make also, whether it's a household budget or the budget of a state or of a nation, of the world, as it were. So there seems to be a toss-up between being very frugal, therefore prudent, and the stymieing or delaying of developmental work, Mr. Rao. What's your opinion on that? Because we see that a lot of districts, MLAs feel that the development work all has come to a standstill.
Yeah, I agree with that. The thing is that I think yesterday Siddaramaiah has also clearly stated that he would be presenting the white paper on the state of finances. I think that will enable him to clearly chart out the plan for developmental works over the period of next 4 years. And also, given that the GSDP growth over the previous year is about 18 to 20%, that will also give him more elbow room for him to borrow as well. So all of this, I think he is looking for a fairly accurate estimate by Jan or February, so that he will have a clear idea of what will be the outgo of these guarantees and how he can embark on the journey of really development through investment. I think a clear plan would emerge by end of Jan is what I think.
All right.
The other thing, the budget circular.
I will come back, sir. I'll come back to you. Mr. Rao, let me get the other guest, sir. Thank you for your patience. Mr. Bhanuchandar, I want to ask you, we were talking about diverting funds from one basket, which Dr. Itnal spoke very, very eloquently. I want to ask you, there are it is a done thing about diverting funds, from other schemes. For example, 23-24 budget in Karnataka has a provision for 1,000 crores for 2 years going towards mutts and Hindu charitable organization, which Siddaramaiah apparently refrained from doing in his previous tenure. There are several such examples which exist, which if you combine can actually ease off the burden. Do you think that is doable? But remember that there is development rock on one side and there is 5 guarantees rock on the other side. Now on top of that, because Tamil Nadu, your state and my state, DMK was saying Samutavam and talking about equality, all this that Dravid parties always do, and then diverting funds from SC/ST funds to other things because there was a cash grant. They had to come. It is unfair. It is unfair. It is not social justice. So what is your opinion on this, Banu?
So, Sudha, the philosophical question is like, how much of growth of today are you willing to sacrifice for tomorrow? So that's the fundamental question we are talking about, right? Yeah. So the thing is like, like we spoke initially, like there is no time. This is not the time to panic, and the finance managers can like take funds from one line item and take it and transfer it to the other, like what Mr. Itnal said. But also, like, let's acknowledge that like the Congress went to the people with this agenda and they got elected. So we should respect that. But so they are trying to implement the manifesto, right? But there's also one item in the manifesto which says that like they will grow the metro lines from the current 70 kilometers to 176 kilometers.
Okay.
My question is, if you give out all these doles, will you be able to do that also? That is also your poll promise, right? So I think there are a lot of contradictions, and like in Hindi we have this word called santulan, right? How they manage the santulan, the balance is probably like the question that we have. And this is, and sometimes like we think that this is only the Congress that does these sort of revdi politics. If you come to Madhya Pradesh, which is going to polls now, it is full of freebie politics, like the Ladli Behna Yojana, the Nari Saman Yojana, so on and so forth. So I think it is not just a BJP problem, not just a Congress problem, but it's both a BJP and Congress problem.
I'm sorry, I think it's a North-South problem, and North Indians can sit there and call it Revdi or whatever. When they do it, it's called Labharti. When we do it, then it's called Revdi. I'm sorry, I don't accept it. Go on, Bhanuchandar.
Yeah, so yeah, you're absolutely right. See, you should call freebie a freebie, right? And then we acknowledge and do whatever we have to do. So, and see, the thing is like a few years ago, Sudha, like, probably 10, 15 years ago, like we had this debate on public expenditure, right? When it comes to NREG, how they are wasteful, so on and so forth, and how direct cash transfers are the way to go, so that you stop the leakages. The Rajiv Gandhi's 15 paise per rupee wala comment, right? So, but now we are getting so good with conditional and non-conditional cash transfers. So where do we stop? Like that is something that we have to go. Is it going to be a slippery slope? Are we going to just forget governance and start giving these stocks? Is something that we have to think about.
Nizam, would you like to take Bhanuchandar's questions about the metro? He said that is also a promise. So you see, it is pretty much a conundrum that is faced by the government. Although Dr. Itnal had good things to say about the 5 guarantees, I will of course, if I have the time, ask Dr. Itnal, how is it being perceived amongst the people? But I will ask you that would you like to take the metro question that he brought up?
Oh, definitely, definitely. We are very committed to the development. Let me just tell you, our state GDP is about 25.7 lakh crores, right? And that's 17.7% more than expected or the estimated value. So that means our estimated revenue is going to increase by about 17.7%. At the same time, our revenue, sorry, the fiscal deficit is just about 2.6, and it can be up to about 3.5% deficit, which is within the norms of the state budget or the national budget of any country.
Right.
In that regard, our the estimation towards the revenue versus the capital expenditure is fairly balanced. We know where the revenues are coming from.
Okay.
We know how it needs to be spent. We know how it needs to be allocated.
All right.
The promise of the metro of 170 kilometers will be fulfilled. I don't think so. It should be a major concern. But my one question again to the central government is that when we asked you for 17,000 crores against the drought that we are facing, the central government is sitting on our, the previous GST cash collections and so on and so forth. They're not releasing.
Right.
I think if they do that, our state will prosper instead of the central government basically transferring our funds to the other states and giving us better benefits.
Absolutely, but that's a peeve.
Because we give more GDP, we give more GST collection. Tamil Nadu gives more GST collection, Maharashtra gives more GST collection. I think the central government needs to give our due right. If they give us the due right, आज का पेट भरेगा हम काम करेंगे. They want us to starve today so that we show a bad light tomorrow.
Right.
I think the central government needs to show that we earn good money, give us back our right.
But that's
we will make sure our state keeps developing.
Most of the southern states, the ex-finance minister, Dr. Parnivel Tyagarajan, had brought this up time and time again in Tamil. Dr. Itnal, I'm completely running out of time. Tell me something, the 5 guarantees. How is it doing? I mean, in Karnataka, what I hear is people are happy, but the euphoria has died down. Please tell me that I'm wrong.
Euphoria has died down, but people are happy with the, with the implementation of the schemes by and large. Though there are certain areas where there is room for development, there are certain complaints as well. For example, this Guralakshmi scheme coverage is yet to be expanded. There are certain complaints about even the minister, Lakshmi Balkar, and all that. Having said, with all that, by and large, people are quite happy with the guarantee schemes because after a long time, somebody has, stood by them at the time of their need. That's very important. Now, again, coming back to this metro and this drought issue, both metro and drought are, they are issues before both center and state. Right. BMRCL is a joint venture between Karnataka government and government of India.
Yes.
While drought relief also has to be given by center as well. So these things are not incumbent only on the state government. So probably there is a way to deal with them as things unfold. But by and large, like you answering your question, by and large, guarantee schemes are doing well. People are happy. But how long this can be implemented, how long this can be carried on is a bigger question. Number one. Number two, this guarantee schemes, if they're going to be implemented by taxing the middle class, it is going to be counterproductive. Because if you're planning to finance the guarantee schemes by increasing the power tariff or by increasing all the middle class goods, then you are going to be in trouble.
Absolutely.
But if you plan to augment your revenues by any other means or by taxing the rich and the uber rich, then fine. There is hope for sustainability of this scheme.
All right. And on that note, it seems like Siddaramaiah will very well manage whatever little struggles that he's facing right now. Overall, they say, I mean, what I liked about the debate is, yes, there is a problem, but come on, we can all sit there and find a solution. My thanks to Nizam Faujdar, Dr. Baswaraj Itnal. Thank you so much, Manu Chandar, for joining us. And Mr. Rao, sorry about that technical glitch, but whatever you said, that was fantastic in the debate. Thank you indeed, sir. Thank you very much. You know, there are weddings and weddings, different kinds of weddings. Have you ever heard of two political parties getting married? The South Indian will tell you. The Congress in Telangana is riding a wave after the party's win in Karnataka and also the anti-incumbency faced by the BRS. Even as the state goes to elections on 30th of November, the Congress invented a unique method of driving a political point. And that, according to being the secret truck between the BJP and BRS in Telangana, the point is that the BRS and BJP are fighting elections as individual entities, but the Congress feels that the two shall come together after the results are out and therefore are in cahoots. In the election season, they have spoken many times about it, but you know what? This time around, the Congress has announced a wedding between BJP and BRS with an invitation card thrown in. Look at that. Look at that on your screens. The wedding card between BRS and BJP, and the date is also so apt. Valentine's Day, 14th February. Of course, the year is 2024 because by then the results would have been out. Also, look at the colors. You know, the pink is not just about love or romance, but it's the BRS color, and saffron, by which the BJP is identified. Both colors have been chosen so well. And don't miss the RSVP. You know, we can't read Telugu, but I'll tell you what is written. The RSVP is Prime Minister Modi, KCR Garu, Chief Minister of Telangana. I mean, that is the RSVP. Look at the way the hands are shaking, almost like a bride and groom are actually locking their palms forever and ever. The place of wedding is written as KCR's farmhouse. What is really wicked is the guarantee in the dowry, which is that K. Kavita, daughter of KCR, shall not be sent to jail in the Delhi liquor excise policy scandal. Listen into what TPCC Chief Revant Reddy said about the wedding of the election season.
सर अध्यक्ष जी सर एक कार्ड बीआरएस और एक बीजेपी का एक कार्ड छपी है जो हमारे पास है और ये कह रहा है कि शादी का कार्ड है। हाँ। क्या लिखा है क्या नहीं, तो क्योंकि आप लोग के लैंग्वेज में ही पता नहीं चल रहा, ये क्या है? ओ February 14th है ना, व्हाट इज दैट? हाँ, वो कार्ड वो है बीजेपी और बीआरएस का।
I must say this is a very unique way. It's wicked, it's funny, and it's actually very innocent. And you know what? Listen into what the BRS leader said and reacted to it.
Now, the false narrative that the Congress party is taking out in Telangana is to indulge in theatrics of creating animated videos where they are trying to show that BJP, BRS are one on the same and BRS is the B team of BJP. Unfortunately, this narrative will not work in the state of Telangana.
And on that wonderful muhurat or wedding note, the South Indian says bye-bye, namaskaram, vanakkam. I'll be back with loads of stories. It's very few days to the Telangana election, so I promise you, lots of stories, lots of fun.
Hello everyone, Namaskar. I'm music composer Ricky Cage.